Yes, there's only one bathroom and one kitchen. And 4 rooms are just too cramped. I really wish it had been a duplex. In agreement with his mother, Eric Reed jokingly added. That means we'd have to kick out Lindsay and Mia. They are just outsiders after all. Upon hearing this, the rest of the in-laws agreed. That's a good idea. I agree. Mia isn't close to us, and I can't see them as family, said the mother-in-law. Then, the father-in-law chimed in. I agree too. Neither of them are blood relatives, so they shouldn't complain. Even the sister-in-law joined in. Of course, I totally agree. It was a mistake to marry a single mother in the first place. Anger shook my body. Facing me, Eric declared. You heard right. It's decided that you and Mia are to leave this house. Okay, I understand. I can't stand this life anymore. Mia and I will go back to my parents' house. I am Lindsay Reed, 33 years old. Up until 2 years ago, I was a single mother. At 25, I married a former coworker and we had a child. But, disgusted by my husband's lack of financial sense and his spending habits, I couldn't bear it and divorced him. Later, using my previous work experience, I worked from home as a web writer. A job introduced to me by a friend. As my daughter Mia started kindergarten, I met Eric Reed, who delivered meals to the kindergarten. Initially, we only exchanged greetings, but for some reason, Mia took a liking to him, and we started talking occasionally. Then, one day, Eric confessed to me. I was surprised as I hadn't thought about him in that way, but his enthusiasm overwhelmed me. Knowing I was a single mother with a child. We started dating and remarried 2 years ago. Now, Eric has moved into my rented apartment, and we live together. As my daughter became a schoolchild and suddenly grew up, we started thinking about moving to a larger house. Both my husband and I wanted to buy a newly built single-family home instead of renting if we were going to move. That's when, introduced by my father, a real estate agent showed us a property. Although it was about an hour from the city center in the suburbs, it was a newly built 4-bedroom house. The area was quiet, being a residential neighborhood, with supermarkets and stores within walking distance. Slightly away from the station, the price seemed just within reach. However, there was one thing that bothered me. When we went to see the house, the in-laws came along and looked around with us. I realized that the location was close to Eric's family home, about a 30-minute drive. I thought they showed up out of curiosity since it was nearby and didn't think much of it at the time. However, it made me slightly anxious that we might have to interact more with Eric's family. In the end, we liked the environment and location so much that we decided to buy the house. Finally, the day of the handover arrived. Eric was at work, so Mia and I went. The scent of wood filled the inside. There was a parking space and a small garden. There's nothing like a new house, I thought, lost in the moment when suddenly, hello, I heard today is the handover day? I came to celebrate. Look, I brought lunch, let's eat together, said the in-laws as they walked in. It was Eric's parents and his sister Diane. I can't say it out loud, but Diane is a divorcee who returned home. Officially, I heard it was due to personality differences, but there seems to be another reason. Probably thought there was nothing here, so I brought lunch and cleaning supplies. Let's clean up after we eat, said the mother-in-law. Well, thank you. But today I'm just here to check on the handover, and after this, I have plans to prepare for the move. I need to go back soon because the movers are coming to give an estimate. I'm sorry to decline your kind offer. Upon hearing this, the mother-in-law's face clouded over. What's this? After someone goes out of their way for you, you step on their kindness? No, that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry. I find dealing with the in-laws difficult. As Eric is the eldest son, I carry the title of his wife. Moreover, his sister Diane adds extra pressure. The in-laws offered to stay and clean, but I politely declined, thinking it was too much. That night, Eric scolded me. Mom came to help clean the new house. And you turned her down? Mom complained to me. How can you so rudely refuse someone's kindness? I didn't expect her to come suddenly, and I had other plans afterward. So I apologized politely. But she even prepared lunch, right? Couldn't you have changed your plans? I already had an appointment with the movers. Besides, why did your mom know today was the handover and that we were going? I just answered when she asked. She wanted to know the day we were moving into the new house so she could come. Why is she so eager to get into that house? We haven't even moved yet. Well, it's a new house, maybe she just wanted to see it. Eric's behavior seemed suspicious. The fact that he still calls his mother a mama shows that he hasn't quite separated from her. One day, I got a call from my mother at my parents' house. My father was insisting on seeing Mia. It had been a while since I visited home, so I decided to go during a break from moving preparations. My father, having retired last year from the construction company where he worked, is now a contract employee. When I opened the front door of my parents' house, my father burst out and suddenly picked up Mia. Hello. Ow, Grandpa, your beard hurts. Sorry. I should have shaved properly. My father adores Mia. And of course, Mia loves her grandfather too. Honestly, ever since yesterday when we knew Mia was coming, we ran out of snacks. Do we have juice? He's been so noisy. Mother appeared, laughing as she spoke. She's still full of nagging. After a brief rest, we went to a family restaurant for lunch, where my father asked about the new house. I hear you're moving soon? Yes, that's why I'm so busy these days with all the moving preparations. I'm exhausted every day. Well, how are things going with Eric's family? It seemed my father was a bit concerned about the in-laws. Well, the new house is closer to his parents, so I expect we'll be seeing more of them. And frankly, things aren't going great with his parents, and his sister Diane is there too. So it might be a bit of a struggle. Well, Eric married you, knowing you were a single mother. You should endure a bit of hardship and keep trying. Yes, I'm prepared for the hardship. I'll do my best in the new house. Somehow, it will work out. You can always come back if there's any trouble. Above all, take good care of Mia. Yes, thank you. I wondered if my father truly wanted to see Mia or if he was just concerned about me. His gruff kindness warmed my heart a little. Now, on moving day. Since today is likely to be hectic, I've left Mia with my parents. Upon arrival at the new house, the moving van had just arrived. And I was gearing up to work hard when another moving company's van and a familiar old minivan pulled up. I thought, is someone else moving today? But then, yo, who Eric, Lindsay, long time no see. It was Diane, the sister-in-law. She said, oh, perfect timing. You haven't started moving your stuff yet, right? Put our stuff in first. As the in-laws also appeared. Taken aback by this unexpected turn of events, I confronted Eric. Wait, what's going on here? What do you mean? As you see, my parents and sister are going to live here with us. What? I didn't know about this. What about your parents' old house? Keep it down. That place is just a rental and it's falling apart. It's only natural for us to live with family in a nice new house we bought, right? But it's a 4-bedroom house. It's impossible for 2 families to live together. You're really loud. We'll just have to be creative and it'll work out. As they talked, the in-laws' belongings were being moved in rapidly. What's going on here? We have stuff to move too. The movers we hired were idly watching, unsure what to do. I'm sorry, there's been a mix-up. Could you wait until they're finished? Well, we have other appointments after this, so this is a problem. We'll just unload the stuff here, and please ask their movers to carry it in. Saying that, they began to unload the luggage. With no other choice, I asked the movers arranged by the in-laws. And they agreed to help if they were paid extra. Somehow, we managed to get all the belongings into the room. And I went to pick up Mia from my parents' house. A simple dinner began with deli items and boxed meals from the supermarket. Followed by a family meeting. Well, it's a bit cramped, but a new house is nice. This smell, it's definitely new. We're happy to have a new house after living in that old rental. With a beer in hand, the father-in-law casually made remarks. The mother-in-law chimed in, yes, but the kitchen is small, isn't it? We don't have enough dishes, and there seems to be a lot to get. Mom's particular about things? I don't care. I don't cook anyway. She was said to be incapable of housework, which was rumored to be a reason for her divorce. I thought it was just going to be the three of us starting a new life in the new house. Why did this happen? Well, it's my house, so don't hold back. Now that we're all family here, it's going to be fun. Eric, perhaps drunk, made light remarks, but I was getting irritated. Thus, with a mix of emotions, we began a two-family life in a 4-bedroom house. Ignoring the in-laws who continued their party, I took Mia to bed early. Mom? What is it? Why did Grandpa and the others come to this house? Well, Dad said he's lonely. Mia turned over with a somewhat unsatisfied answer. Yes, I'm not convinced either. What will happen now? I feel nothing but anxiety. I straightened Mia's blanket, got into my own, and closed my eyes. And so, the life of 6 people in a 4-bedroom house began. This house has only one toilet. Yet Diane always takes her smartphone with her to the bathroom, making her visits long. I've repeatedly asked her to stop, but she dismisses me. Don't be so loud. Don't act so high and mighty just because you're a daughter-in-law. Even when I ask Eric to speak to her, he dismisses it. It's not a big deal. She's not in there for hours, is she? What a hassle. Mealtimes are also a challenge. Shopping for 2 families not only increases the quantity but also the cost significantly. Especially since the father-in-law likes his liquor, the expenses for alcohol and snacks have gone up. I pay for the living expenses from my salary, so the burden has increased. I've asked the in-laws to contribute money, but Eric says, you can't expect to take money from family. And he doesn't take it seriously. At mealtimes, the table is for 4 people, so when everyone gathers, it's not enough. So, the father-in-law, mother-in-law, and Diane have to use the kotatsu. But it creates an awkward atmosphere. To think the elderly would be neglected. I have bad knees. So I would prefer a chair. The mother-in-law began talking to herself loud enough for me to hear. Also, this food is too heavy for the elderly. I wanted something lighter. He seems not to like the meals. However, making different meals would be too much for me alone. It would be nice if Diane or the mother-in-law helped. But Diane is terrible at cooking and doesn't help with cleaning, and both of them say, housework is the wife's duty, isn't it, and don't help at all. Of course, it's not just cooking, I also have to do all the cleaning and laundry by myself. With the increase in household chores and my remote work, I'm exhausted every day like a slave. Naturally, Eric's family and I with Mia have started doing things separately. We are now effectively living separately within the house. Moreover, the mother-in-law and sister-in-law constantly nag. Since we took in a divorcee with a child as a wife, you should be grateful. I am your husband's mother. And I want you to show your gratitude not with words, but with your attitude. That's right, you might fool Eric, but you can't fool me with your life experience. I'll re-educate Eric and wake him up. Understand your place. Eric's family has been complaining that my cooking isn't good. And the mother-in-law started saying she would cook. However, she only cooks and doesn't shop or contribute money. Moreover, she doesn't prepare anything for Mia and me. She even uses the groceries I bought for us. When I complain, she says, "Huh? It's for the family to eat, why can't I use it?" The mother-in-law always gets priority in the kitchen, and I'm always last. There's only one kitchen, so we can't use it together, can we? You figure something out. Forced to cook in limited time, I increasingly rely on frozen meals, deli foods, and instant products. As I heat up microwave food, I feel sad. Why am I living like this? Then Mia spoke up. Mommy, Mia wants to eat the meatloaf you make. I'm sorry. I can't use the kitchen for long right now. So we have to make do with what's quick. Let's go eat at a restaurant together next time. But I want to eat your meatloaf. Yes, I'm sorry. How long must this life continue? I began to feel pathetic. My love for Eric had long since faded. Although we bought this house as a family, Mia and I ended up feeling like lodgers. I was treated almost like a servant. Then one day, I took Mia and went back to my parents' house. The mother-in-law complained about the wife leaving the house. But I managed to get away because I absolutely had to take care of something at home. When I saw my parents after a long time, they were shocked by how worn out I looked. Since moving into that house, I hadn't been able to go to a hair salon or wear much makeup. I hadn't realized how much I had changed until they pointed it out. My father was shocked. What happened to make you look like this? And my mother was worried. Your hair is a mess, and you're not wearing makeup? What happened? Then Mia spoke up. Mommy shares a room with Mia. Grandma is using the kitchen. So I can't make Mia's favorite meatloaf. Mia loves Mommy's meatloaf. Well, come on up. You must have a lot to talk about, right? So, I told them everything while drinking coffee in the living room. I see. I didn't know Eric was like that. Just get a divorce already. There's no way you can continue a marriage like this. But, I've been divorced once before. That's true, but... My father murmured. Well, it's tough with the in-laws, but for Mia's sake, I'll try a bit harder. And forced to smile at my father. Don't push yourself too hard. You say it's for Mia, but you need to protect her, right? Yes, I won't push myself. And Mia. I will definitely protect her. Meeting with my parents eased my mind a bit. When I returned home and put Mia to bed, I called Eric and his parents for a discussion. Listen, this is just wrong. What's going on? Why is your family here? Didn't I tell you before? My family lives here now. Besides, I took you in. You have no right to complain. Hearing this, something snapped inside me. What are you talking about? I wasn't informed that your father, mother, and Diane would be living here. Quiet. The eldest son's wife is supposed to serve her husband's family. Your opinion isn't needed. That's ridiculous, isn't it? If you have a problem with our way, you should just leave this house. What did you say? Well, it really is too cramped here for two families. The father-in-law muttered. Yes, there's only one bathroom and one kitchen. And 4 rooms are just too cramped. I really wished it had been a duplex. Following up, Eric made a shocking suggestion. Maybe we should just kick out Lindsay and Mia. They're outsiders after all. And the in-laws agreed. That's a good idea. I agree. Mia isn't close to us, and I can't see them as family, said the mother-in-law. Then, the father-in-law chimed in. I agree too. Neither of them are blood relatives, so they shouldn't complain. Diane also added, of course, I totally agree. It was a mistake to marry a single mother in the first place. Eric's family supported his view. I trembled with anger. Facing me, Eric declared. You heard right. It's decided that you and Mia are to leave this house. What? Okay, I understand. I can't stand this life anymore. Mia and I will go back to my parents' house. I woke Mia up, got her ready, and packed the essentials in a suitcase before leaving the house. Oh, I'll send the divorce papers to your parents' house. Make sure you submit them to the city hall. Eric's words hit me as I loaded the luggage into the car and secured Mia in her child's seat before driving off. Though I thought I needed to calm down, my anger was uncontrollable. Realizing it was dangerous to drive like this, I decided to stop at a family restaurant to settle down. I called my parents to let them know I was coming. Watching Mia happily eating her parfait made me think, I have to protect this child. I resolved to be strong. Back at my parents' house, I explained everything that happened. All right. For now, just rest your mind and body. Since then, my father started going out more often and was constantly on the phone at home, seemingly plotting something. Dad, what's been going on with you lately? You seem busy. Mia is feeling lonely. Ah. Sorry. I've got more things to handle. Bad grandpa for neglecting Mia, huh? Despite his words, his phone kept ringing. After the divorce was finalized and things had settled down, Eric called. Despite suspecting it wasn't good news, I answered the phone anyway. Suddenly, Eric blurted out, Lindsay. It was my fault. Please forgive me. It started with him crying. When I listened to Eric's story, he had been fired. Apparently, his company's performance deteriorated because of him. A company that had a contract with Eric's company had heard about his and his family's misdeeds from someone, and decided they couldn't deal with a company that employed such people. The contract was cancelled because of this. I wondered how the company had found out about it. It was my father. It turns out, he was well acquainted with local business owners and had shared the bad things Eric's family did to me. They decided to sever ties with any company that employed such a person. And Eric was forced into resigning. Though it sounds better to say he resigned on his own terms, it was essentially a firing. But Dad, how did you have such connections? Well, I was a bit of a troublemaker back in the day. I was somewhat of a notorious bad boy around here. And my mother added. He used to lead a gang of local troublemakers. They formed a biker gang, and Dad was their leader. They called themselves Satan's Claw. But when a policeman asked about the gang's name during a checkpoint, Dad showed off a flag with the name and acted tough. The officer laughed and said, "Oh, Satan's Claw, huh," and they disbanded that very day. Hey, that's supposed to be off limits. Father, scratching his head. Well, some of those old friends have become somewhat important, running their own companies. Recently, I got together with them, and after sharing what had happened, they got fired up about teaching that guy a lesson. That guy won't find work around here anymore. Really, those old troublemakers, acting up again at their age. Mother laughed while making coffee. Well, my old friends are loyal. After all, you came from a ladies' gang, and I picked you up. Without me, you'd be having a lonely old age. Oh, really feeling strong today, huh? Shall I tell Mia and Lindsay about how you threatened to crash your bike into the field if I didn't date you? Hold on now. Hold on. Really? Sorry, please let that go. Well, more on that story later, but it seems things went poorly for Eric's family. Not only was Eric fired, but it turned out Diane had accumulated debts. Diane loved playing slots, never worked, and gambled her way into debt, which apparently contributed to her divorce. Despite the house mortgage and Diane's debts, Eric was repeatedly rejected at job interviews. The family is scraping by, barely making ends meet. After such horrible treatment, they had the nerve to ask for help. But I'm not kind enough to just say yes. Well, if I return, the house will be cramped, won't it? I can't bother other people. Don't say things like that. We were husband and wife, after all. Yes, a temporary husband and wife. Mia doesn't even acknowledge you as her father. Enjoy your spacious house without us. Goodbye. With that, I hung up the phone. Well, Mia will be back soon. I'll go buy some snacks. Oh, then I'll make Mia's favorite meatloaf. You two spoil Mia too much. Laughing together, they heard Mia's voice, I'm home. I managed to calm down and resumed my remote work. Fortunately, my company understood the situation and prioritized my assignments. So my income stabilized. Taking a break, I looked back. Mia had settled into her new school and made friends quickly. However, her grandfather being known as Keith Simpson of Satan's Clow led to Mia being nicknamed Clow Kid, and I got tagged as Clow Kid's mom. Perhaps because of that, I quickly made friends with other moms and enjoyed lunches and karaoke together. Mia herself has become more interested in fashion, fussing over her clothes and grooming. Maybe she has a crush in her class? With that thought, my break extended. I can't dally. I need to work. While enjoying the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, I couldn't escape my world of endless fantasies.